If you ask me which is the tactic that is the most overrated in programmatic yield management, it is dynamic pricing. Not because it doesn't work, it absolutely does, but because the teams that try it way too early. They try it without the right data, without the right governance, and without the right strategy to support it. So today I'm going to walk through why dynamic pricing often backfires, what you should be doing before you even think about trying to change your floors dynamically. So first, we need to discuss what is dynamic pricing and define it. One might think that it is simply changing your rate card prices on a regular cadence in response to some market signals. However, in practice, it usually means constantly changing your pricing or pricing floors in a programmatic environment. And as you might have guessed, it is a relatively advanced technique. As such, I don't usually recommend it to teams starting out. When people come to me, I first ask whether they have the right components in place. For example, do they have a rate card that their sales team believes in? Is that rate card being updated on a regular basis? Is there a deal desk in place to ensure price credibility? Do you have strong ad product segmentation strategies? If the answer to these questions is no, then you really shouldn't be thinking about dynamic pricing. It is the cherry on top of a sundae, and if you don't have the underlying functions in place, then it's going to be at worst a distraction or a source of revenue leakage. So without a good strategy in place, dynamic pricing often devolves into let's just raise the floors and see what happens, or potentially blindly saying let's do whatever our SSP's algorithm says that we should do. But good yield management requires that you have a clear hierarchy in place between your different types of ad products. It requires that you have guardrails around your most sensitive, brand sensitive sections. It requires that you understand why demand operates in the way that it does. And it requires that you are able to do modeling before you do experimentation. In short, dynamic pricing is a tactic. And without a good strategy in place, it can become a random walk. There are also inherent risks. Algorithms might learn your flaws and adjust downwards. Private marketplaces might become less competitive as agencies shift their dollars. Or marketplaces might adapt, and dynamic pricing can inadvertently create a negative spiral. Or to put it another way, you might squeeze more revenue in the short term, but as your buyers start to value your inventory less because they are seeing lower ROI or lower ROAS, they begin to optimize away from your supply. And that is exactly the kind of thing that a good yield management team needs to monitor. So given that dynamic pricing is not where most organizations should start, then when should you explore it? There's a couple of specific use cases. The first is if you already have a solid yield management function in place. You have rate cards that you believe in, you have a deal desk process that works, you have strong product segmentation, and a clear ad product strategy, and that you are ready with proactive messaging for your customers when they inevitably get annoyed by your dynamic strategy. So at that stage, and then yes, dynamic pricing can make you more money. The second case is if you want to be completely hands-off. You'll remember that I said that one of the concerns about dynamic pricing is that it can be a distraction. Well, one option is to outsource it completely to another organizations. The problem with this is that there are a lot of intermediaries, whether they're SSPs, exchanges, or managed service providers, who would love to provide this functionality. But a word of caution, you need to ensure that that third party is capable of doing the dynamic flooring, but also that the products that they are optimizing are discrete and differentiated from the products that you sell in your managed or your PMP channels, so that you don't unintentionally devalue your overall brand. So yes, here's the summary on dynamic pricing. Yes, there is upside, but it comes with real cost and real complexity, and you need to be reasonably far along in your yield management journey before it's justified. I'm James Deaker, I'm the Yield Doctor, and these are exactly the type of problems I work with my clients on. If you're having these types of issues, give me a call.